just circumstances. You know, we had our 9 and 10 team here, so we really couldn't do anything other than try to enjoy that group of kids, you know, and celebrate their accomplishments. And then you've got the national team here with so many of our former players. So it was, you know, it was a lot of mixed emotions, you know, obviously, but we got through it.
Geno, have you ever been involved in so many mixed emotions? Because you want to be happy to see them, obviously so sad with the Kobe situation.
Yeah, no, it's been it's been unlike anything that, you know, you get to experience, you know. It was yeah, all of it, just, you know, you can't react to something like that. Say, well, this is what you do when this happens. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say, so you just kind of sit there, and then you've got all these kids back with their families, and then the national team's here, and so you got to put on a happy face, and you got to do what you got to do. You know, that wasn't easy.
Geno, what do you think Kobe's legacy is going to be for women's basketball?
I don't think he got a chance to really establish one in our game. I think in the next 30 years he might have been for the next generation of, you know, kids that, you know, knew his daughter or played with Gigi, and now he gets involved at a whole nother level because of her. You don't know, but he was just getting started. You know. We used to talk about what defensive drills to do. I said, what, didn't you pay attention all those years of practice? He said, well, I got to teach my team man-to-man defense tonight. Nobody could score on him for 20 years. He's asking me about defensive drills. We can't guard anybody. You saw that tonight. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he got a chance. You know, he had a big impact on the world of sports. And, you know, introducing the NBA to a whole part of the world that didn't know about it, and his businesses, you know, and all the stuff that he's done. You know, those are things that will last forever. But, you know, he probably would have had a bigger impact on his kids more than anything.
All the tribute that you all had for Gigi on the bench, can you just speak a little bit to what she meant to the program over the years?
You know, the first time that they were at a game, you know the old saying, she was like a little kid looking up at our players, you know, and you could just see the look in her eyes, like she was so excited. You know, and imagine the absurdity of that, you know, your father's Kobe Bryant, and the most excited you've been in a long time is being around college women's basketball players. But that's what it meant to her. You know, that was what she aspired to be. So in that room, the very first time, second time, you know, after that it was a little bit different, but the very first time, you know, so you got Gigi and her role models and people she looks up to. And then you got our players looking at her dad, like, you know, so it was a real head-shaking scene, you know. And she was, you know, when she came up here on campus, it's like, if she could have stayed, I think she would have stayed.
You know, this team has been intertwined with USA Basketball, your team, going time, and you've been part of that intertwining. Diana talked about the fact that you coached her U18, going down to Argentina. So it's been, that legacy has intertwined in such a significant way. Have you thought about not just the fact that these two are so tied together, but the fact that it's happened for such a long time now? Sue was talking about it's more than 20 years since she stepped on campus, and she's still here playing in a game like that.
Yeah. USA basketball has always been for me as like a reward. Like if you're ever good enough, as a coach, when you start out as a young coach, if you're ever good enough, you may get the opportunity to coach USA basketball, which, for a young coach back in those days, it was like validation that, yeah, you're a pretty good coach because USA basketball really wants you to work with their program. And I think my first opportunity with them was in 1992 or 93. And I've been with them ever since. And when I started out, my first opportunity with them, I started out, my team went 0-3. We couldn't win a game. I thought I was done for. I thought they'll never invite me back again. And then I'm probably the only one that could have Diana Taurasi and Elena Beard in the same backcourt and not win a championship. So I didn't really distinguish myself early on. But I've been probably so fortunate that so many of my players feel the same way I do about USA basketball. They're 15 and they aspire to be, Olympians, and they get involved in the program. And it's really tough for a young player to break into that because the older guys never want to leave. And they would play until they're 60 if their body's held out. But it's not like the guys. Maybe you play 1 or 2 Olympics and then they're off. And with these women, once they got the bug, they're not going anywhere. They want to keep playing year after year after year. And I'm proud of the fact that so many of them were UConn alums, and they're not just on the team for their looks. They're on the team because they're the best players in the world. And that's what our program's really proud of that. We took the best high school players, we made them into the best college players, and then they became the best WNBA player, and then they became the best Olympians. That's pretty damn good.
Geno, can you just talk about the effort your team played with today? I mean, to play against a team that's so much more talent than they are.
During the first time out that I called, I thought we were going to get shut out. I was really worried that we wouldn't score. I really was. I was worried that we wouldn't score. Now I know what it felt like when I had certain teams and we played against other teams. Where we would switch every screen and you couldn't run your offense against us. You couldn't get a pass completed. You couldn't make a shot. That we used to do that to teams. And now tonight I was on the other end of that. And our kids, they hung in there, They hung in there and they kept battling, made just enough shots. And, we tied at halftime when it was half a win. Like, hey, for 20 minutes, we battled these guys. And hopefully the next 20 minutes, we can battle them just as hard and get a couple more things done on offense than we did in the first half. And, for the most part, for 35 minutes, whatever it was, however long we held in there, we hung in there. And then, we just wore out. They're just too big and too talented and too smart. Crystal came over at one point when Aubrey was in the game. She said, "Coach, we should trap the ball screens." I said, "Sure, go ahead." And after like the second or third one, I looked at her, I said, "How's that going? How's that working for you?"
How about the way Megan played today? I mean, she really showed something.
And to me, it's a great sign when you can get things done in a game like this, because that should give you a ton of confidence, no matter who you play against. You know? Because scoring, getting buckets against these guys is not easy. So for you to, to be able to score, and be able to get to the rim and be able to make some big threes, and Meg's been getting better, every week, and today was just another step in that process. I was really proud of her today. She battled pretty hard.
Geno, over the last 24 hours, a lot of people have been sharing memories, stories about Kobe on TV, columns, whatever. Wondering what your fondest memories have been like.
I would say probably when we were talking in Italian, at one of the competitions, and here's two guys who grew up in the Philadelphia area talking about Italy, because we both lived in Italy, and it was really kind of a neat conversation. And we talked about his dad. His dad's my age, so we played against each other in high school, and it was just really ironic. It was really funny, and so that's something that has always stuck with me. And then watching him work out by himself on the off days at the Olympics, and having my team just stand there at their half of the court and just staring at him during his workout and just being mesmerized by how many shots, shot after shot after shot after shot after shot, went in. And I just shook my head and I said, that's why he is who he is. This is their off day. And he's in there, killing it.
What did you see from Stewie tonight, and what do you think for the system?
I'm so happy she played. She looked pretty good. I mean, she's not the same Stewie yet, but she will be. She got in the lanes, made her first three. I mean, she makes everything look so easy, but you could tell there's a little bit of gingerness about her. She didn't have the, come out of nowhere and do things that make you go, wow. But she's been looking forward to this for a long time. She got a chance to actually play.
She said that she thinks USA basketball, or that UConn made her and USA basketball better. Do you think that your experience with USA basketball has made you a better coach?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no question about that. I've learned a lot about basketball coaching against some of the best international coaches, and watching them how they play and how they conduct themselves, and their style of play, and I brought back a lot of that stuff with me and try to incorporate some of it into our program. So yeah, I'm way better as a coach because of those 8 years, especially with the Olympic team. I really learned a lot, and I learned a lot from coaching my former players in their 30s. Maybe they learned from me in their late teens, and I was learning from them in their 30s. They were teaching me things about basketball that I wouldn't have seen, because they've seen it all. So yeah, I would have to credit USA Basketball with a lot of stuff that we do.
Coach, you talked the last week or so with these games that have been building up, of having the big game against Tennessee, big game against Baylor, Tennessee, this game, and then we have another conference game, and then you have Oregon coming in. Can you just talk about what you've seen of the team to get ready for another view of one of these big games?
Yeah, and I think the following week we're at South Carolina. The way we handled ourselves today was a little bit better than we handled ourselves 2 weeks ago. So in 2 weeks we made a lot of progress. We're still not there yet because we're not mature enough to be a complete team yet. But our freshmen have gotten better, in the last couple weeks. And it's given us some more options. The only way that we can get better in these games is to keep playing in these games. And, a lot of times you learn, if you're smart, you learn from failure. And hopefully we have. We're, when you look at our game, you look at our team sometimes, and we're out there and we've got 2 sophomores and 2 freshmen. And it's a lot to expect from them, but they're getting better. They're getting better every day. And I wish I could have used some of that 9 and 10 team for subs. That would have helped a little bit.
Did you think this was another step in the maturation of Anna?
Maybe, yeah. She made a couple big shots. She made a couple plays. She's still, she's still a little tentative at times, but little by little, she's starting to show more confidence in herself. And, a kid like that, where she lived, and then people she watched play on videos or TV or whatever, and now she's on the floor with them. It's like a dream come true for her, I thought she handled it pretty well. I know when the game started, they were nervous as hell, man. They were scared to death, no matter how much they thought, this is so cool, They were dying that first time out. The look on their face was like,
Anything else?
Geno,
Last question?
yes,
how
sir.
different would the game have been if Kyler McLaren was out there tonight?
Game would have been a little slower. We would have been able to keep pace. You mean playing for us or playing for them? Both. Well, there were times when you helped both teams, I remember.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Daryl Reeves will be in momentarily.